My name is James Alexander-Sinclair, and sitting just across the table from me is the smiley wily Joe Swift. And this Smiley Wiley. This is the James and Joe Garden Show. It's one of those things you can't really say without singing it, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
And we are here every Tuesday. A new episode appears in your inbox. What you need to do, actually, is you need to go and make sure that you subscribe to us on either Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, so that those episodes download automatically without you having to do anything at all. And if you want the real special experience, if you want the deluxe James and Joe Garden Show experience, then you need to go and sign up for Scribehound Gardening. And if you do that, you will not only get more of us, you will get ad-free listening on this, and you will get a whole collective of rather gorgeous garden writers writing about topics that will interest and excite you.
Deluxe. Is that the deluxe model?
That's the deluxe version. We're the
Has it got power steering, aircon?
It's got
leather seats.
It's not that. It's got.
Has it got those sensors on? Has it got the camera, the reverse camera thing?
Yeah, lots of them. Reverse camera, forward cameras.
Wow.
Everything. The whole thing. So you never have any excuse for bumping into any children or anything like that. So that's the deluxe version. This is the podcast version. And what we tend to do is that we tend to talk for a bit about a particular subject. Sometimes it's sensible, sometimes it's not. Then we get on to you, the listener's contribution, because we cannot do this without you, and we would like you to send us in some cool questions. But the questions have to be not
dull,
nor
dead plants.
That's it. That's basically
quite simple.
Very simple rules, easy to attend
Some
to.
people still haven't got it.
No, but so
and they keep coming.
So what we need to know is what the subject for today is. And the subject for today is television gardening. And this is I think it's quite close to home, this, because I think the first time I met you or worked with you was on a television program. Because you've been doing television for ages, pretty much. You came out of you're a garden designer, and then you got whisked off to go and do telly, didn't you?
Well, I didn't get whisked off anywhere, actually. I got into, it was 1998. So I was 33, so I wasn't that young, but yes. I started doing TV about then. I started doing Gardener's World. I answered an advert in the back of a magazine, Gardens Illustrated magazine, that I used to sell in my garden design shop in Islington, and had a screen test, and then just did loads of, little bits and pieces and stuff for them. But I met you doing a makeover program, James.
Yes.
I was presenting it, actually. Yes,
you were.
I was presenting a makeover program of small town gardens. There was 8 of them all over the country, and I've never been so tired in my life, travelling from Glasgow to Cornwall via Chippenham. Well, your garden, garden, you were a designer on the show.
Basically, yeah, it was like the second series. First series Rachel had done,
Yeah.
and various people had been on it. And then they rang me up and said, would you like to design a garden for this thing called Small Town Gardens? And I, of course, said, yeah, right, why not do that? And they sent me to see somebody called Karen in Chippenham.
Yep.
And I arrived to see this person called Karen in Chippenham. And there, waiting for me, was this bald bloke that I'd seen on Garden as well before. And that was you.
I can't stand him. He's really annoying, isn't he? Gotta say, he's annoying, that bloke.
So I designed this garden. It was on a sort of slope, and we went off on various trips. We went to some mountains or some hills somewhere. Do you remember? We went on a
yes, that's right. Yeah, but inspirational trip.
An inspirational trip.
And we went to a garden where you started standing on a bridge quite high up and climbing trees, and you were a lot younger then, and you loved all that dramatic stuff and showing off.
Fun. Yeah, basically showing off.
Which is why the next series you got the lead presenting job.
And you got fired.
I got fired. You got the lead presenting job, and you killed that series dead.
I did. There was no series 4, basically, which is something that's followed me through for a lot of my televisioning life.
But you on the one that I presented, you did an S&M garden, which was quite radical. It actually got in the Daily Mail.
It got in the Daily Mail for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a bad thing. And they had a picture of Rachel the Tame on there as well, rather than either of us.
That was it. And the headline
we got out of it somehow.
The headline, they'd done an interview with the next door neighbour. The next door neighbour had this thing, and it was the headline of the Daily Mail said BBC ruined my life. And there was this whole story about this garden that we were building, and it was quite a sort of in your face
Well, there was
kind of
rubber
garden.
and chains and
there was a sort of fence that tumbled down.
It was a
all
great
sorts of
garden,
things.
though.
What we'll do is I'll put a photograph of it up on
Yeah.
our Instagram
it was a
account,
really,
which
and
is
it had a wood burner. It was a great
it had
garden.
wood garden and sort of. Okay, so I'm going to put a photograph of this on our Instagram account, which is James Joe Garden at James Joe Garden. And you'll be able to see what it looked like. But it was quite, I think it was quite a fun garden. But the Daily Mail and the neighbour, basically, they said, ruined my life. We've done this thing. And there's rubber and there's chains and it's all sort of pervy and not really acceptable. And they didn't mention my name.
No.
They didn't mention your name.
No.
They put up a photograph of Rachel.
Yeah.
It was basically entirely her fault is what sort of happened.
We got out of it.
But it was quite a fun garden. And I remember we had quite a fun time doing it. And I'd done a little bit of telly before that. Basically sort of daytime stuff, because I'd done a garden at Chelsea at 99 and they said, oh, would you like to come film something? And so I did something. I actually did something at Munstead Wood, which is Gertrude Jekyll's house, which is now just been taken over by the National Trust.
Yes, that's right.
I did something there. And then there was this sort of appeared, and it was I thought that's quite fun. And I remember you giving me some very excellent advice. And we were at this place called Hawkston Park. I think it was called Hawkston Park, which is in Shropshire.
Right.
And that's where the bridges and the mountains
Where
were.
you were doing your daredevil stuff.
I was doing my daredevil
There
stuff.
was no risk assessments being filled in that day.
None of that nonsense. None of that nonsense. And they were sort of saying, do you want to do a bit more television? I said, well, maybe. And you said to me, you said, never touch anything, because if you touch anything, they have to go back and film it again.
Yeah.
So never do that. And your most important bit is never touch anything on a Thursday, because you had to go and play a five-a-side football for the fat
9
dads.
p.m. North London. I had to get back. Didn't matter. And also that was the year that I think I was Fat Dad Player of the Year. And it was building. The stats were building, and it was getting to Thursday night, and it didn't matter how far away I was. I was like, I've got to go. I have to get back to North London by 9 o'clock, even if it was a 3-hour drive. Did you touch anything? No, I haven't touched anything. Are you sure you haven't? Didn't you touch that leaf over there or that flower there? No, I didn't touch anything. It's Thursday. I'll never touch anything on a Thursday.
Yeah, and that's a really, really good piece of advice, and I remember that. Didn't always stick to it, because then I went and presented the third series, and as we say, that was it. That was the end. I actually watched. I watched an episode.
A hat. You were Jimmy the Hat.
I was Jimmy the Hat.
And now I'm Joe the Hat.
You see,
because now you don't wear a hat, but I do wear a hat.
I've passed it on. I can't wear a hat any longer because a hat and spectacles look stupid.
No.
But I watched an episode that I did of that series 3, and my God, I was annoying.
Well, you were encouraged to be loquacious. Is that the word?
Yeah, I was really annoying.
You were encouraged by everybody to be really sort of flamboyant, loquacious, rambly, being yourself. Well, being yourself.
Plus. No, hang on, I'm not that bad, am I?
No. But I think that was the shtick, wasn't it?
That was the shtick. The shtick was the idea of that, and it is quite. I can sort of see why they didn't let me do it again, basically. But you, in the meantime, you were doing Gardener's World.
Well, I've done a lot of TV. I've done some very serious. I've done Gardener's World. I've done a lot of practical stuff, a lot of garden visits. I've done deconstructing designs. I've done all the flower shows for many years. Chelsea, Hampton Court, Tatton Park, and all those. I've done other series as well. I've done a lot of makeovers as well myself. I did Garden Invaders. In fact, I've just finished this year. I've done a few. I've only done 4 of this Garden Rescue, and now I'm a lot older than I was then. I mean, that takes serious energy.
Hard work,
they're 2-day builds, and wow, it reminded me. I used to be able to do that, and then.
But you used to do it with Anne-Marie and Cleve, didn't you, at the beginning?
Oh, I did that Take 3 Gardeners series.
Yeah.
I used to do a lot. And it was great, because the more you do it, the more you're just chatting away, and you can only be yourself on the television. And it was a really good learning curve, just chucking you in front of and now they get media training, all these people who do this. Yeah, they go off to some studio and have things stuck in their ears and told how to talk to cameras and everything. Actually, I'll tell you, I mean, I worked with Alan Titchmarsh a lot, and he's legendary. Just watching him film, and he was always Uncle Alan, and very, he gave you a lot of little tips here and there, and just very generous as a presenter as well. So he'd always throw stuff across to you.
Yeah.
And then working with lots of different people, interviewing different people at Chelsea and stuff, and you always get a bit of imposter syndrome, I think they call it, don't you? Sometimes you think, what am I doing here? Why am I here?
What do I know? Because I did quite a lot of Chelsea's with you, and there was this moment when we would go and sit on the balcony just after I judged all the gardens.
Oh, yes.
And you would just give me a very hard time.
Absolutely.
I don't agree with this. Why did this happen? How did this work?
Why did they get a silver gilt and they only got a silver and that got a gold? Why is that best in show?
Which was some of the best television ever made.
No, but it really was, because actually people, that's what I think people want to watch. It's like when you watch a game of football, you want to think, well, you don't want to, oh, he's just missed another penalty. Oh, well, that's a shame, or the referee just, but that they gave that as offside and actually it wasn't offside. You need to drill down into some of this stuff, and people at home want to know why it got a silver and it didn't get a gold medal. You can't just walk around saying everything's lovely and beautiful all the time. And when you put James up there, who's sort of chief judge representing the RHS, who has handed out all these medals, then I'm sorry, but we had to give you a bit of a grilling sometimes, rather than going, oh well, lovely, everything's just absolutely smashing. Because you get into those flower shows and they are competitions and there's high stakes.
No, I agree. I quite enjoyed the grilling. The grilling is quite fun. I was quite confident in that we've made the right decisions. You were quite confident I've made completely the wrong decision. But it's okay. It made for interesting and made for good television. The other thing that I was allowed to do when on the sort of presenting of Chelsea was I was allowed, because I was the poshest one. I was basically allowed to go and follow the Queen round.
Yeah.
Basically, so I would go around with the Queen and proper suited, booted, all that kind of stuff. And the cameraman and the sound guy had also been forced into a suit. And we would follow
some of those
around.
cameramen look hysterical. They've got one suit, and they wore it at a wedding 20 years ago.
That's basically
and
it.
I've got to do the Queen thing, and they've put this suit on, it doesn't fit them anymore, and they've got this tie strangling them, and the shoes that don't fit, and
we follow them round, and if the Queen talks to somebody, I then have to dive in and say, "What did she say?"
Yeah.
And they say, "Oh, she said it was very nice." But what else did she say? I mean, what was she feeling? How do you feel about all of that kind of stuff? And so I was allowed to do that, and then occasionally I was allowed to do. I think maybe even before I was judging, I was allowed to do the medal run where you go round in the morning.
Yeah.
And that's
the early start.
That's quite brutal. It's early morning when the medals get given out at the beginning, and you're sort of saying, "So how do you feel about the whole thing?" And
are you happy with your bronze?
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah, well done anyway.
It's tough.
Oh, they're in tears, and actually they decided to walk under a bus.
But when it's good and it's fun. You see, when you won your gold medal, that was okay. Were you there? Were you waiting on the garden at 7:00 in the morning?
No, because I I got stuck on the Victoria line. Have I told you this story?
No.
Oh, so when I got my medal, I was getting the tube down, and I got to, and the Victoria line just stopped, and it was so hot that I stopped for like half an hour, and everyone was sweating, and there's no water, and it was like, oh, are we ever going to move again? Anyway, got to Chelsea. Nicky Chapman comes up to me, gives you this envelope, and you open it, and they shove this camera in your face, and a silver gilt and a bronze look quite similar to a gold. Yeah. Some people have opened it and gone, wow, it's a brilliant, I've got a... Oh, bronze. And so you've got to be quite careful. So you've got to read the words. So I opened it, read the words, and Nicky said, how do you feel? How do you feel, Joe? And I said, well, the Victoria line is a disgrace. I said, honestly, they need to get water down there. There's people fainting. It's just too hot. And I got completely obsessed about the train. and sort of the moment went, really. But that's the most dramatic side of television gardening, really, the shows and the drama and the glamour and the catwalk of garden design and everything. But there's also others, Gardener's World. It was the first gardening program I watched when I was a kid. Jeff Hamilton, doing, he got a yogurt pot and he put some holes in the bottom, and he was putting some compost and sowing some seed, and I found it absolutely inspiring. I loved it. And then he made this stream in a little pond. And I remember as a sort of, I probably just started gardening, actually, or becoming a landscaper. I was probably, 17, 18 or something. And just thought, wow, this is, that looks like fun. Yeah. You can make a pond and a stream in someone's garden, and then I went and visited this garden years later, and it was tiny. The whole thing was about 10 foot long, but on television it looked like it was half an acre or something.
It was
and that's another thing television does.
It was lots and lots of gardens, wasn't it? But was it called Barnes? It is called Barnsdale. It's still open. Because I did an audition a general audition for the BBC. They drag you in and say, "Come and talk about this." I remember talking about larch lap fences. For some weird, and the other person in that was Chris Packham, so he's gone off and done bigger things. And I was stuck with the large lap fences, but it was lots. He made this the garden there was lots and lots of little gardens, so you could go there, you still can, and say, okay, well, I've got this sort of garden, I've got that sort of garden. It was a sort of pioneering.
That's right.
Bit of
and Alan's garden had lots of sections to it, and Monty's actually has got lots of sections to it. I mean, they're more Montified than they're not. You could do this in a back garden in a semi detached, whatever. But that's important because you need that variety. For Gardener's World, which runs the whole season, you need that variety. And then you've got the videos that come in, the garden visits and experts, and it's great. And that's why it's Gardener's World. And then, the makeover thing that we've talked about.
But Gardener's World, you are the longest serving presenter on Gardener's World, aren't you?
Myself and Rachel started at the same time, and we're both still presenting on it. So, in 98 we started. That's a long time.
I think you get a gold clock soon.
Can I get a golden gnome?
What, just for doing that?
Yeah, I want a golden gnome.
No, because Gardener's World don't give out gnomes. No. You have to go somewhere classy if you want a gnome.
Want
you have to come
Gardener's
here.
World. I want it from you.
From me. If I just give you a name, then that's basically cheapens the whole thing of gnomes.
Nick one.
You can't have them. They're all underneath my bed.
There's no stock control around here. I'm just going to nick one.
I know exactly how many there are.
For being the longest presenter on Gardener's World, along with Rachel. We have to send one to Rachel as well.
Okay, she can have one too. So, and then the makeover stuff sort of goes up and down, hasn't it, over the years? And if you were doing stuff with Cleve and Amory probably early 90s.
Years ago. And
then it sort of disappeared.
I used to do stuff with, and Sven Wombwell and Charlie Dimmer. I did loads of those. Then you killed them off.
Then I killed it.
You literally killed them off.
I basically killed it.
Well done, because everyone needed a rest, frankly.
That was the end of it. There were so many of them. And then, my presentation of A Small Town Garden Series 3 basically just murdered. Everybody said, really? Do we have to have this? Why don't we just invest all the money in darts or football or something else instead? So they did it like that. And then it's sort of coming back. And then now, I guess that we've got YouTube, and I mean, you've got your YouTube channel. Alan's got a YouTube channel.
What, Joe's Country Garden? Plug.
That's the one. What's it called again?
Joe's Country Garden.
And where can I see it, Joe's Country?
On YouTube.
Really?
James, it's me in my garden.
It's really good.
I'll put one up soon. That has blown TV. Well, it's blown it away. It's blown it out the window, but it's also democratized it in some ways. And I think for gardening as a subject, it's absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different. There's lots of how-to, lots of practical. When do I sow my seeds? This is how I do it. Then there's the inspirational side of things as well. It's never as beautifully shot as something like Garden as well, where the production value is really high. But there's a huge amount of variety out there. You can find your own little thing, your own niche.
Yeah.
Not presenting wise. I mean, as a viewer, it's all out there. Slow TV, fast TV, 1 minute, 3 minutes, half an hour.
There's and then there's us. Basically, you can come and watch us as well if you really want to. If you want to watch this podcast.
I on my channel, we did a lovely tour around your garden. It was a 45-minute tour, and it was just you and me and a couple of phones doing it, and. We get a really good sense of your garden. I mean, it's not beautifully shot in any way, but
it doesn't matter. You get the idea of it,
and to do that, and I think that is a wonderful thing.
It's freedom. Do you think it means that? I mean, do you think Gardener's World will stop? Will finish? Do you think it will actually knock? Well, I suppose
no.
Basically, I don't think that younger generation actually watch terrestrial television nearly as much.
It's not just gardening; it's all television.
I guess it's all of it, isn't it?
Yeah. Under 30s don't watch television. Basically.
And then the other sort of the big guys, the sort of Netflix and people like that. Netflix. I did a Netflix series 4 years ago or something like that, but that wasn't strictly speaking.
That was like the most ridiculous flower arranging you could ever do in your life.
It was quite weird. It was the Big Flower Fight, it was called, and it was quite insane. We basically had this.
Are you now a flower arranging expert?
I'm now a flower arranging expert.
Or Ikebana.
Well, they used to. It wasn't actually what the episode that I did was basically, can you make an enormous giant animal out of plants? And so somebody made I can't remember what it was. One was a lemur.
They were like 10 foot tall.
They were these things. They're made out of plants. And these people, and they come from all around the world. And Netflix had rented this sort of house in the country where we all had our little dressing rooms, and it was like 6 cameras. It was all quite something. I think that may well have been one of the attractions of going there in the first place. But that
Did you
series
posh it
again,
up? Did you like turn up and go, well, they want the posh James here?
did the posh James.
Hello, I'm James Alexander-Sinclair.
That's the one.
And have you got your secateurs?
Yeah, all
Because
of
you
that.
say secateurs.
Secateurs.
That's posh way of saying secateurs.
What? But secateurs.
No, but I know. That's what I mean. Secateurs.
But that's okay.
That's like it's like
Secateurs?
Shrewsbury and Shrewsbury, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
but
like the posh people say Shrewsbury, and everyone else says Shrewsbury. You're secateurs, and
Secateurs.
everyone else is secateurs.
Secateurs.
No, you don't have to put a Brummie accent on. Don't have to upset the Brummies.
Well, it's like that. That's it.
And anyway, you rolled in. Hello, it's James Alexander.
Yeah, I
Sinclair.
did.
I've just got one of my new suits I've had
suit.
made for me.
No, I didn't have it. I had a suit that I had a white suit that actually was made that I bought for my wedding.
A white suit.
I was there in a white suit, and then the next time I
Was that
in
your
a-
wedding suit?
Yeah, it's very very spiffy. So I went on there, and I didn't actually get to say very much, but it was quite fun doing it, and it was an experience. And the rest of television sort of happened. So okay. So I think it's quite a nice. It's a sort of adjunct to gardening. I see television and this sort of stuff as a sort of extra thing that one does, but primarily I think we're probably garden designers, aren't we? Do you think you spend more time doing garden design than doing telly?
Oh, a lot more. People think I'm filming all the time. I might do, I don't know, 20 days filming a year, 20, 30 days filming a year or something like that. It's a small part of my world, really. I do like it. I mean, I love visiting gardens. It's a real privilege to go and spend a day in a garden and talk to the garden owners, or I've done stuff in community gardens recently for Gardeners World that are really interesting. Cut flower businesses, community projects, allotments, and and also we film. The guys, directors, and the camera crew, sound.
Nice.
I've known them for years. Some of these guys, so it's just nice. Hooking up with them every now and then.
It's a fun thing to do. It's an extra thing. But I think that the other piece of advice that I had is that you should never hang your life on television. You should never rely entirely on television because it's unreliable.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And
I'm very fortunate because I've got the TV, I've got the writing, I've got the design, and they all sort of feed off. They all inspire each other. Sometimes I go to a garden and think, oh yeah, this is giving me an idea for a design that I'm doing, and they do all feed off each other a little bit, I think. And I think, gardening TV. It was some presenters. I mean, on the whole, having presented a lot of programs like you have as well, watching other presenters is quite interesting as well. And there's all different levels of presenters. Some of them are designers, some of them are botanists, horticulturalists, and they try and encompass the whole range. Would you say?
Yes, no, I think there's a whole smorgasbord of different things, and
as
different
well
people.
as my advice, don't touch anything on a Thursday. It would just be yourself, and don't get stressed out about it because that doesn't help at all. You've always enjoyed yourself, I think. And I texted Jamie Butterworth the other day because he's doing some garden as well. I said, you look like you're enjoying yourself, and that's brilliant. That's the main thing.
That's the
if
best
you
way.
look like you're enjoying yourself and you're genuinely interested in what you're doing, it's going to come across like that.
Then you will. That's why we're having such fun here. Okay, that's the end of that. We're going to do some questions now. You do the first question most of the time, and I think I'm going to change that, and I'm going to do the first question this time.
You just boss me around.
Do you think that's fair?
You just do what you want as usual.
I'm just going to do what I want as usual. I don't know which question.
Okay, for that, I'm going to request an accent. First, we haven't had an accent for a while.
Well, I've got to do an accent.
Yeah. Where are they from?
Oh, okay. Nick.
Yeah, where's Nick
Okay,
from?
what you have to do is I'm going to read out the question, and you have to guess where he comes from.
No,
from my
that's
accent.
a silly game.
No, it's a good game. You ready?
Oh, from the accent?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's a good game. Yeah, come on.
Okay. Do your wives have or had any input into these designs? And if so, have you taken any notice? Where does he come from?
He comes from Barnsley.
He comes from West Yorkshire.
Yeah, there you go.
See, my accent was absolutely right.
Spot on.
So does your wife, Kath, have or had any input into these here designs? And if so, have you, Joseph, taken any notice? Ecky thump, I think is what they say in Yorkshire. Is that okay?
Is that it? Nice and short?
Yeah, nice short question.
I think that's a good question. because it's the whole dynamic, the marriage guidance dynamic of design and input. And in fact, that taught me that when we did that talk the other day for Horatio's, I went into one a bit, didn't I? I could tell because I looked up and there was you and Rachel and Pollyanna Wilkinson, all giving me the eyeball, like you were all staring at me, basically with your eyes saying, "Shut up, shut up, you're going on again.
You've gone too far."
What I was saying, and what I was saying was that this is more of a, not so much a design, but it's a maintenance issue, is that, I put a hell of a lot of time and effort into our garden.
Yeah.
Whereas you and Celestia both put a lot of time and effort into your garden, but I do all the, heavy grafting and, I'm thinking about it a lot and I'm buying the plants and putting them in and everything. And I was basically saying that I don't think it's fair enough that Cass just comes along and just like says, "Oh, right, lovely. I'm just going to just pop this little one in here and there you go," because you've got to put the graft in sometimes to do the nice parts of gardening.
Yeah.
But with our new garden, I think that those roles are going to change and Cass going to get more involved. I think she's going to do cuttings and sow seed and get more involved in that side of things. But anyway, I remember you looking up and you were all "Shut up.
Just stop backing yourself into a corner, Joe." Celestia is my wife, and we sort of garden together, but separately, if you see what I mean, which I think is quite a nice way of doing it.
Domains.
In that she does all the seed sowing and the growing of annuals and anything like that. She does all the vegetables, are all her department. And then she does a fair amount in the rest of the garden. So we sort of work it on a Sunday. If one's gardening, she'd be in one part, I'll be in a different part of the garden. We're doing slightly different things.
Yeah.
And I think that I have responsibility for the overall design of the garden, but also by consulting with her. It's like I was trying to take out something the other day, and I said, "Do you think we should take that?" And she said, "Well, I quite like it there." So I think that she has a veto. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
She has very definite contributions, and like bulbs and pots and things like that are pretty much her department.
Okay.
While I'm saying this, I'm wondering, what have I got left to do?
Well,
She's basically done most of it.
Yeah. So
I do the compost heap.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do. Yeah, it's basically the design of the big things.
But you've done the design. You already laid out. Your garden's laid out. You laid out that garden really with the hard landscaping, the lawn, the shapes, and everything, and the pond and everything that you've
done all of that. So it's basically about maintenance.
But that was you,
rather than design.
Yeah, but I think the question from West Yorkshire
design
is about design.
Okay.
Can I?
Can you say it in a Yorkshire accent? If you're going to quote anything about West Yorkshire, you have to do it in a West Yorkshire accent.
Well, I think no.
It does say here, had any input into them their designs.
Into them their designs. So I was thinking that really, when it boils down to it, is this any good? I laid out the garden, you see, James. I laid it out myself and I put it on the paper. And actually, I'm quite stubborn about my hard landscaping and my design. Me overall. Now I've turned into.
I don't know what you've turned into. You turned into a slightly camp West Yorkshire person.
I've turned into what's his name? Who lives in Primrose Hill now?
Alan Bennett.
I've turned into Alan Bennett.
Well, Alan Bennett.
Alan Bennett, he was a friend of my father's actually. Alan. Anyway, I don't know what I was talking about. Basically, I did the design. I do often say to Kath, I'm doing this, or I'm thinking of doing that. Kath, there's a couple of trees. There was one tree in particular that I was umming and ahhing over. It was an Irish yew, and it was just very heavy, and it was, I didn't like it. And Kath said, I really don't like it. It's got to come out. And that was that was a big decision.
What would have happened if she said, I really like it, I want it to stay?
I'd have probably taken it out. No,
okay,
not necessarily.
There we go. And the answer to the question is...
Good question.
It's a very good question. I think it's a known winner.
Yeah.
And Nick from West Yorkshire wins a green gnome. There we go. Okay.
Right, okay, here we go. Question. Mel's _monkshood on socials.
Oh, yes.
Come through social.
She's the national collection holder of aconitum.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
You know her then?
I don't know her, but I've seen her on the social media.
Okay, aconitum, beautiful. What I'd like to know is, if this is a joint podcast, why does James always do the introduction? Why doesn't Joe get a go? Thank you, Mel's. Mel's is on my, Mel's, but she's I'm a favourite.
She's yeah.
No doubt about that.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, Mel's, is that I've only just learnt to read properly. So and also I like I like to have James there. He's our leader, really. And I feel like I can just turn up and relax. I have so many responsibilities elsewhere in my life. It's nice not to have them.
I think it's because it's alphabetical and A comes before S. So Alexander-Sinclair comes before Swift. And yeah, basically you can't be trusted to remember all the stuff that I have to remember about this and that and whatever and all these sort of things. It's because Hang
on a minute. You don't have to get nasty about it. Can't be trusted. Is that what you just said?
No, I didn't say, did I?
I can't remember. But no, I do like just turning up and sort of, just going with the flow. Whereas James has got he's got the points that he's got to hit. He's got the timings he's got to, you wouldn't believe it. He's got responsibilities, this man. And also he speaks very, very eloquently.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. Do we give her a name?
Yeah, we got
to give her a name for that kind of thing. And what we'll do is we'll change it around another time. Sometime keep listening to this podcast, and one day it will work the other way.
All right, don't put me under pressure. I'm not going to sleep now.
You're going to be amazing. You're going to be amazing. Okay, I'm going to do a question, a longer question. Simon, don't know where he comes from. How do you feel about the RHS's decision to alternate the Hampton Court Garden Show? I am sympathetic to the need to promote gardening to new locations and new diverse audiences. However, when I saw it was going to the Badminton estate in the middle of the Gloucestershire countryside, I do not get it. Hampton Court is a show accessible to millions of people in London and beyond, and more affordable than Chelsea. Sorry if this question is too controversial. So basically what's happening is that in order to move things about a bit and to shake it up a bit, the RHS flower shows, which is basically Malvern, Chelsea, Hampton Court, what used to be Tatton Park, and this year was Wentworth Woodhouse, are shifting around a bit.
Yeah, I went to Wentworth, right? Yeah. I suppose. I mean, I actually drove to Tatton Park and realised I was in the wrong place, which is a bit annoying.
Across the other side.
Yeah, they're moving them around because they're diversifying a little bit, and also they cost a lot of money to put on these shows. Well, you're Vice President of the RHS. You can probably show us a spreadsheet or two. But I think I quite like it. I think it freshens it up. I think
Simon's point is the fact that it's moving away from London and it's going into the middle of Gloucestershire countryside, which means it will be less accessible to millions of people in London. That's true, but then people in London have had it their own way for quite a number of years.
And it'll be more accessible to people in the West Country as well. Yeah. And that was a nice thing about Wentworth. It was up in the northeast, so we stayed in Rotherham, and it opened up
Barnsley,
to a whole new range of people up there as well.
Yeah,
and also, I remember Hampton Court years ago when they had the water gardens, conceptual gardens. There was a lot of sponsors, a lot of money around. It was a really big show. It's shrunk geographically. It's a smaller show now. It's now there's food and music and everything. And I can see why they're doing it. Put it that way.
Exactly. And he's saying yes, in the middle of Gloucestershire countryside. The Gloucestershire countryside is also very close to Bristol, which is a major conurbation, and all sorts of things, and Gloucester and Cheltenham and all of these things. So I think it's exciting. We will see what happens, and it'll come back. It's coming back to Hampton Court in the end. After a couple of years, it will come back again. And because Simon will have missed it, he'll be desperate to go there. So thank you, Simon, for that. I think that it's mildly controversial, but quite an interesting question. And you get a
gnome,
but only a
green gnome.
There we go. Okay, next question, because we're doing a rapid fire question thing.
Rapid fire. Okay. Oh, this is a long one. Tom from St Leonards-on-Sea.
I can't do a St Leonards-on-Sea accent.
No. Is that sort of down in
I had an optician.
Kent?
I had an optician in St Leonards-on-Sea who was called Tom. I don't know whether it's the same person.
It's Tom with an H. It's Thom.
Oh, Thom.
Thom. Was your optician called Thom?
No, he wasn't called Thom. He was called Tom.
Not Thong.
Very nice spectacles. Okay, what does Thong have to say?
Dear James, Joe and Jekyll.
Hey,
Jekyll. He's including Jekyll in his. I was playing with ChatGPT the other day and wanted to see how its sense of humour was getting on. So I asked it to write some gardening-related jokes. The best of a bad lot was, why did the gardener quit his job?
Why did the gardener quit his job? Because is it something to do with compost?
No.
Okay.
So to do with one of my least favourite vegetables, not to grow, but to eat.
Celery?
Yes. Why did the gardener quit his job?
I don't know. Why did the gardener quit his job?
Because his celery wasn't high enough.
Oh, Oh, that's quite a good joke. I quite like that.
Well, it's a sort of Christmas stocking joke, isn't it?
Is he going to ask us for gardening jokes?
I decided to abandon that, he says, and thought I'd ask the two of the funniest gardeners I know if they had any good garden-related jokes. Then I changed my mind and thought this could be a question for you two instead.
Oh,
Do you have any favourite gardening puns or jokes?
That's a really difficult question to answer.
You're putting us on the spot there.
That's really putting us on the spot. And the answer to that question is, do you think it's ethical to defer that question to a future episode, by which time we would have been able to think about it and ask GPT ourselves?
Yeah, the best jokes are just made up on the spot. They're puns. You're on site.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, oh, I'm planting a sedum here. Oh, a sedum here, sedum over there as well. You know, that's all.
Yeah.
You know, you just got to get into a role.
Yeah.
But it's not like, you know, why did the gardener quit his job sort of gardening joke.
But that's the sort of one that I think, what I'm going to ask, what's his name?
His name is Thom.
Thom. What we're going to say to Thom is saying, we're going to defer this. We're going to defer. We're not going to give you a name right now, but we're going to defer it. And I promise you, we will come back with some really good garden jokes, maybe in 2 or 3 weeks' time.
Yeah.
Does that seem fair?
I think that's fair.
Okay.
But I did get stung by a bee the other day. 25 quid for a pot of honey.
Whey! See, you got 2 jokes and they were free, and we're going to have more stuff coming back.
It's your go.
It's my go, is it? Okay. Barbara from Vancouver Island. We've had Barbara from Vancouver Island as well.
Yo,
before.
Babs. How are you doing?
No, I think we called her Barb.
Oh, no, that's right.
I'm considering a new email address as I'm shifting providers. What? I would like something that reflects my horticultural interests.
Oh, yeah.
I prefer something provocative rather than anodyne.
Oh, gotta be
An
Babs.
example of provocative might be #2poshmalepodcasters at whatever it's going to be. An anodyne example might be Victoria Gardner at whatever. As you can see, I really need help with this. What she wants us to do is to choose her email address.
Oh, I like this question.
So we got to think of her email.
So what's her real name?
She's called Barbara. She lives in Vancouver Island, where we've been.
Yeah.
She's obviously a very keen gardener. She's a Victoria Gardner.
Did she say we would be 2 posh gardeners?
2 posh male podcasters.
She's calling me posh?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Absolutely.
I'll
Isn't
take
that
that
sweet?
as a compliment.
I think you should do. I think that's a nice, kind thing to do. So what are we going to think?
So Barbara, Barb, you want to call her Barb?
Well, you called her Barb last time.
I'll
If
call
it's
her
the same
Babs.
one. I'm assuming it's the same one.
Well, it doesn't matter.
She's the one that had the problem with the bears.
Oh, is this back?
So we can do something about bears and Barbara, or a bear Barbara. If you think that's a bit too much.
No, she wanted a bit provocative, didn't she?
Bear Barbara.
But is that got anything to do with gardening? I mean, if anyone was not a gardener, would they think that's garden related?
I don't think it really matters, because it's basically her sending an email to the bank manager or something like that. So I think Bear Barbara is quite good.
What about Bear Babs?
Bear Babs. That's like a baobab tree.
Bear Babs.
Bear
Babs
Babs.
or Bear Barbs.
Or Bear Bob. But no, I'm not going down that direction. Okay, so if it's not, I think Bear Barb is quite good. Bear
She might
Bab
not be
is
the bear
great.
one. She might not be the same bear.
Well, she's in Vancouver Island. They will have bears and they will have deer.
But they might all be called
so we
Barbara
can have
in
Dear Bob,
Vancouver Island.
Dear Bob, sorry, now I've just gone
That's
into
quite a
it.
long email address.
Barbaran. Barbara. No, because I can't do it. And we do something. Okay, so we could do. I think we've given her some food for thought there, haven't we?
We are. They're putting us on the spot today, big time.
They really are. I think she's had a name already. I don't think you can have a double name, or can you? I don't think you can have a double name. So we assume that you. I haven't seen a picture. What I would really like to do is I would like to see a picture of Barbara's gnome with a bear.
Okay.
I think we can.
That's a very long title.
We can.
Email address.
No, we're just going to call it. It's going to be called Bear Barb.
Bear
Or
Barb.
Or Barbara Ann. Barbara Island. Barbara Van.
Bear Barb.
Bear Barb. Okay, fine. Okay, last question.
There is a baobab tree sort of connection. There's something very vaguely horticultural going on there. Judy from West Sussex.
Yes.
Good morning, both. Love your work. Well, there's a gnome coming your way.
There's a gnome coming your way.
Already. I'm not even going to bother asking.
We are
asking a
so
question.
bloody shallow, aren't we, really?
We are. We're easily bribed. A friend took her grandchildren for a walk some years ago and fetched up for a snack at a beautiful old church with a venerable and mighty lime walk. She had told them about it on the way. The youngest, aged 7, was massively disappointed to discover large trees with no fruit. Have you ever had a horticultural disappointment to match that? So this kid was expecting trees with limes. With,
And I can quite understand why that would
citron
happen.
vert en français.
Exactly. I think it would be disappointing. There's a couple of things I'd like to know. First thing is, if they're stopping for a snack at a church, seems quite an odd place to stop for a snack.
Everywhere's got a cafe these days.
I guess it probably is. Okay, so there's a cafe in the church. The other thing, the only disappointment that's just similar to that I can remember is that my daughter managed to convince a friend of hers that basically we had a lemon tree, and she managed to convince her friend that the lemon tree that had a lemon on it started as a lime, went to a lemon, and then it became an orange, and then it became a grapefruit, all on the same tree. And so that was a great disappointment to the friend to find out that this was not actually the case. But the lime tree, which is the Tilia, usually European, Tilia Europea, that used to be called a linden tree, and that's where the lime tree comes from.
The name for lime comes from lind.
Comes from lind. And I just think we have, for the sake of transparency.
You're looking at me like you know what you're talking about, so I'll try and believe you on this one.
For transparency, we have to admit at this point that we have just looked it up on the internet. So that is the answer.
You could have got away with it.
I know I could have, but I just feel I like to be honest with our listeners.
You like to be knowledgeable as well.
Yeah, but on this occasion, I'm erring on the side of honest. So
I love lime trees. I love them. I think they're my favourite sort of broadleaf tree. They're lovely. Yeah. Okay. So I've got a massive disappointment that springs to mind. Actually, was once we went to film a video pre. Chelsea Flower Show. There was the Isle of Wight Lavender Boys. I think it might have been Hampton Court, actually. The Isle of Wight Lavender Boys, who had this lavender nursery on the Isle of Wight, and they bring all their lavenders over to flower shows, and they've got lots of different varieties. Anyway, it hadn't been recce'd. We'd had photographs sent through of it looked like Provence. Yeah. With these lavender fields of Provence, rows and rows and rows of these lavenders, because they made lavender oil, they made lavender soap, they did all that sort of stuff. So lavender is not a herb, in my opinion. Who wants a lavender biscuit? Ugh.
Sort of gritty, basically, is what a lavender biscuit is.
It wants perfume, like a biscuit that tastes of lavender. No, you don't. No, you want chocolate.
You don't want that. That's like a Parma violet. I think is an aberration as well.
Well, Kath loves those sort of perfume sweets.
Anyway,
so we got there. It was just me and the director. We're meeting the cameraman over there and everything. And we went to bed in this hotel and got up the next day. And we went to this lavender farm, and they dug up every single lavender the day we got there. The day before we got there, because they looked a bit messy. They were going to replant them that year because they'd all got a bit leggy. So we filmed the whole item in this tiny little greenhouse, which was they had sort of 40 different lavender varieties, all in 2-litre pots. And the whole thing was a huge disappointment, and I'll never forget it. And I was a fully grown man.
Well, that seems to be a very good place to end this podcast. We're going to end this podcast on a note of massive disappointment and sort of, disillusionment is what it's going to be. Thank you very much indeed, all of you, for listening. Thank you, those of you who have sent in questions. We love your questions. Please send us more. The only rule is that they cannot be
dull
or
dead.
There you go. Dull or dead. D or D. We're getting it simple, and people are beginning to get the hang of that. As you say, if you want more of this and more of us, then go and sign up to Scribehound Gardening. If not, we will see you next Tuesday when we drop